Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everyday Real English from Real Life Podcast.
Welcome to Real English Podcast. I'm Annie.
And I'm Brendy. Before we start, please take a quick second to like, subscribe, and share with your friends for the Real English Podcast.
If it feels a little fast, that's okay. This is real, everyday American English. You'll hear it again more clearly later, so take a breath and just enjoy the moment.
So, I want you to imagine this scenario. You study English for years, right?
Right, you memorize all the vocabulary.
Exactly. You get perfect scores on your grammar tests. And then finally, you step off the plane in an English-speaking country.
You feel totally ready.
Oh, completely. But then you walk into a coffee shop, you listen to people talking around you, and suddenly, well, you realize you have no idea what anyone is actually saying.
Yeah, that is such a classic experience.
Right. You understand every single word, but the meaning of the conversation is just a complete mystery. It feels like native speakers are playing a secret game.
And nobody gave you the rules.
Exactly. It is an incredibly frustrating moment. And honestly, every single language learner experiences it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you check your mental dictionary and it tells you one thing, but the person's face tells you the exact opposite.
So today, our mission for this deep dive is to give you the rules to that secret game.
We're going a step beyond grammar today.
Yes, we are. We're going to look at the hidden meanings in everyday English conversation. We'll explore, the mechanics of sarcasm, break down some really confusing everyday phrases, and uncover the cultural rules of friendly banter.
By the end of this deep dive, you will understand the hidden subtext of these everyday interactions.
You really will. You'll be able to catch the jokes, feel the empathy, and just sound much more natural when you speak.
So let's start with probably the most common way English speakers hide their true meaning. We're talking about sarcasm.
Ah, sarcasm.
Yeah. At its core, sarcasm is simply using a very positive word to describe a very negative situation.
Right, because people use sarcasm as like a coping mechanism. When a situation is annoying or frustrating, just stating the obvious negative fact can feel really heavy or angry.
It brings the mood down.
Exactly. So by using a positive word instead, they add a little bit of dark humor to the moment. It makes the frustration easier to handle.
I always think of sarcasm as a trick mirror.
Oh, I like that, like those curved mirrors at a carnival.
Yeah, exactly. At a carnival or a funhouse, you look at the reflection and the outside frame is beautiful and shiny. It looks like a bright compliment.
Right.
But when you look closely at the image inside the frame, the shape is completely distorted. The meaning is all wrong. It's actually a complaint hiding behind a smile.
That's a great way to explain it. The outside frame is positive, but the reflection inside is entirely negative. Let's look at a classic situation.
Okay, set the scene for us.
Think about a weekend morning. You were so excited to go on a long walk in the park. You put on your shoes, you open the front door, and suddenly dark clouds roll in. A massive rainstorm starts pouring down.
Oh, no.
Yeah, terrible timing. And a native speaker will often look at that terrible weather, sigh, and say, oh, great, it's raining again.
Right. And if you look up great in the dictionary, it means wonderful, excellent, or fantastic.
Exactly. It's a word you use for a delicious meal, or maybe a big promotion at work.
But in this scenario, the speaker is deeply disappointed. They're using this excellent word to highlight how terrible the situation actually is. The contrast between the happy word and the sad weather is what creates the sarcasm.
Let's picture another everyday moment. You're in your kitchen, your hands are covered in soap. You pick up a heavy ceramic plate, it slips through your wet fingers, and it crashes onto the hard floor.
Oh, that is the worst sound.
It shatters into 100 tiny pieces. The room goes quiet. Then your friend who's watching this happen shakes her head and says, nice job.
When you first hear that as a learner, it feels so confusing.
I bet.
Because nice job is the phrase a teacher uses when you pass a difficult exam. It means you succeeded.
Right. But when you are staring at a broken plate on the floor, you clearly made a mistake. Your friend is pointing out your clumsy mistake by using a phrase meant for success.
We also see people use words that are completely ridiculously out of place for the situation.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, imagine you are doing a very difficult workout at the gym. Your muscles hurt, you're sweating heavily, and you are exhausted. You look miserable. Your workout partner might look over at you and say, this is joyous, isn't it?
Joyous. Wow.
Right. Joyous is a massive emotional word. You save the word joyous for a wedding day or when a family welcomes a new baby.
You definitely do not use it for lifting heavy weights in a sweaty gym.
Exactly. Because the word is so incredibly out of place, you instantly know the person is not being serious. They are highlighting the pain by using a word of extreme happiness.
But the challenge for a learner is knowing when someone is being sincere and when they're using that trick mirror.
So how do you tell a difference?
Well, the secret is not in the vocabulary. The secret is in the physical delivery. It's the tone of voice and the facial expression. When someone is being sarcastic, the musical pitch of their voice usually drops lower. They speak a little slower, stretching the words out.
And they also rely heavily on breathing.
Oh, absolutely. You will almost always hear a heavy, tired sigh before or after the sarcastic phrase.
And physically, they use a deadpan expression.
Deadpan, yeah.
Deadpan means their face shows absolutely zero emotion. They deliver this happy word while looking as serious and unfeeling as a robot.
We need to practice this so you, the listener, can feel the mechanics of it in your own voice. We are going to practice a very common sarcastic response.
Okay, let's do it.
Imagine you just missed your train. You now have to wait an entire hour on a freezing cold platform. I will say the phrase, and I want you to repeat it out loud. Drop the pitch of your voice, let out a tired sigh, and use a deadpan face. Focus on the feeling of frustration, even though the word is perfect.
Yeah.
Wow, that's just perfect.
You can really feel the difference when you lower your voice like that.
Yeah.
Now, if sarcasm is using positive words to express negative feelings, we also have the exact opposite habit.
Oh, we really do.
Sometimes native speakers use negative words or aggressive-sounding commands to express deep empathy, agreement, or politeness.
Right, and this all comes from a cultural tendency to use understatement.
Understatement is huge.
It is a huge part of English-speaking cultures, especially in the UK and North America. People often feel uncomfortable showing too much intense emotion, whether it is extreme anger or extreme happiness.
Oh, so they soften their language?
Exactly. They use casual, sometimes negative-sounding phrases to keep the social interaction smooth and comfortable.
The first phrase we should break down is a perfect example of this. It is the phrase, "Tell me about it."
Ah, yes.
When I first started learning the mechanics of English, I saw this as a clear command. The speaker is ordering you to tell them a story. They want information.
Well, in a literal sense, yes, it looks like a request for a story. But in everyday conversation, it is used to show deep solidarity and agreement.
So not a story at all.
Not at all. Imagine you are standing in a very long, slow line at the grocery store. Your feet hurt. You look at the person next to you and complain, "This line is moving so slowly."
And if they reply, "Tell me about it," they absolutely do not want you to explain the line to them.
Right. They're looking at the same slow line. They're feeling the same pain in their feet. They are actually saying, "I completely agree with your frustration, and I am experiencing the exact same annoying thing." They use a command to show empathy.
Another phrase that functions the exact same way is, "You can say that again."
Oh, that one is so tricky.
It used to trap me all the time. I would be walking outside in the middle of summer and I would say, "It is incredibly hot today." My friend would look at me and say, "You can say that again."
Oh no, what did you do?
Well, I would take a breath, look them in the eye, and slowly repeat, "It is incredibly hot today." And they would just start laughing at me.
It is a very natural mistake to make. The logic of the sentence tells you to repeat yourself. But the cultural meaning is simply, "I agree with you 100%.
Right. Your statement is so accurate and true that it deserves to be said twice. It is a strong statement of support, but it is never a literal instruction.
Exactly. Now, let's shift to how we use negative words for politeness. Think about the phrase, "not bad." It literally contains the word bad, so learners often think it means something negative or just barely acceptable.
But it doesn't mean that at all.
No, this goes back to that cultural idea of understatement and modesty. If someone asks, "How was your weekend?" and you had a wonderful, relaxing time, you might not want to brag.
Yeah, shouting, "My weekend was amazing and perfect," can feel like too much emotion for casual small talk.
So to be modest, you soften it. You say, "not bad." In everyday English, "not bad" actually translates to pretty good.
The phrase "I don't mind" works the same way. The word "don't" makes it sound like a rejection or a negative preference. But it is actually a tool for flexibility.
How so?
If someone asks, "Do you want to sit by the window or the door?" and you reply, "I don't mind," you are telling them you are easygoing. You are happy with either choice, and you want them to pick what makes them comfortable.
It removes the pressure from the other person. Speaking of removing pressure, we have to look at the phrase, you don't have to.
Oh, this one is important.
Many learners feel slightly hurt when they hear this. They offer to help a friend wash the dishes after dinner, and the friend says, oh, you don't have to. It can sound like they're rejecting your help or pushing you away.
But culturally, there is a deep fear of forcing guests to do chores. If a native speaker invites you over, they want you to relax.
Right.
When they say you don't have to, they are simply making your offer optional. They are saying, I appreciate your offer, but please do not feel obligated to work. You are my guest. It is a protective, polite phrase, not a rejection.
That's spot on. But we do need to talk about one negative phrase that breaks all the rules of logic. It is a phrase used to show that you have absolutely no interest in a topic. The correct logical phrase is, I couldn't care less.
Which makes perfect sense mechanically. If your level of caring is already at 0, it is physically impossible to care any less. Your interest has hit the bottom floor.
Right.
But wait, I hear native speakers say, I could care less constantly. I have to push back on this. If you could care less, that means your caring is not at 0. You still have some amount of caring left to lose.
I mean, your logic is flawless. Mathematically, I could care less means you still care a little bit. But this is where we have to admit that native speakers are frequently lazy with their own language.
Lazy logic.
Exactly. Over decades of speaking quickly, people started dropping the negative ent sound. The incorrect phrase became just as popular as the correct phrase. In modern everyday English, whether someone says, I couldn't care less or I could care less, the meaning is exactly the same, 0 interest.
We just have to accept that language is shaped by human habits, not just grammar books. So let's practice the empathy phrase we discussed earlier.
Good.
We're going to practice saying, tell me about it. Imagine a coworker just told you they had to sit in traffic for 2 hours. You want to show them you understand their pain. Use a warm, supportive tone. Repeat after me. Tell me about it.
Let's try it again. Soften your voice to show solidarity. Repeat after me. Tell me about it.
Excellent. Now that we understand the mechanics of sarcasm and these confusing empathetic phrases, we need to hear how they blend together in the real world.
We are going to perform a realistic role play for you. As you listen to this scenario, pay close attention to the melody of the conversation.
Listen to the pitch of our voices.
Right. In this situation, one of us is having a truly terrible, stressful morning where everything is going wrong. Listen to how the words flow.
Oh, great. I spilled coffee all over my clean shirt.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then I ran out the door and I missed my bus.
Wow. Sounds like a perfect day.
Tell me about it.
Okay, let's step out of the role play. Let's act like scientists for a minute and deconstruct exactly what just happened in that exchange.
If we only look at a transcript of the words, the vocabulary is incredibly positive.
Right. The key words we used were great, perfect, and the command tell me.
A computer reading that text would think we were having a wonderful morning.
But the subtext, the hidden layer beneath the words, was entirely negative. You initiated the trick mirror immediately. When you spilled the coffee, you sighed and said, oh, great.
My tired, frustrated tone completely changed the definition of the word. I was complaining.
Exactly. Then I gave you more bad news about missing the bus.
Wait, I gave you the bad news?
Oh, right, yes. You gave me the bad news, and I responded with, sounds like a perfect day. I used a word of ultimate success, perfect, to describe your terrible luck.
You were validating my bad experience by using heavy sarcasm.
And you finalized the conversation with, tell me about it. You did not pause to tell me a story about the bus schedule. You used that phrase to say, I agree, this morning is completely awful.
When you learn to listen for the size, the low pitch, and the context, it is like unlocking a secret code. Suddenly, you aren't just translating vocabulary, you are feeling the actual emotion of the conversation.
Understanding this hidden language leads us to a very important cultural concept. We just explored how people use sarcasm to cope with negative situations. But surprisingly, in English-speaking cultures, we also use sarcasm and teasing to show affection, friendship, and love.
This is a massive cultural hurdle for learners. The concept is known as banter.
Banter, it's so important.
If you want to truly integrate into a community, especially in British culture, but also in America and Australia, understanding banter is essential. Banter is a playful back-and-forth exchange of teasing, jokes, and light insults.
It sounds counterintuitive, right?
Oh.
Why would you insult your friends? In many cultures around the world, politeness is the ultimate sign of respect and love. You speak politely to your elders, your boss, and your dearest friends.
But in English-speaking cultures, extreme politeness creates a barrier.
It really does. If I am overly formal and polite with you, it signals that we have distance between us. It means I do not know you well or I do not trust you yet.
When a native speaker feels truly comfortable with you, they drop the formal politeness. Teasing you about a bad haircut or making a sarcastic joke about your loud shoes is actually a sign of intimacy.
They're saying, we are so close and I trust you so much that I know this joke will not destroy our friendship.
I always picture banter as a friendly game of tennis in a local park. You stand on one side of the net and your friend is on the other.
You hit a light, soft joke over the net. Your friend receives the joke, smiles, and hits a light joke back to you.
The goal of this tennis game is not to smash the ball as hard as you can and hurt your opponent. The goal is to keep the rally going. You want to bounce the jokes back and forth.
In English, we call this giving as good as you get. You have to be able to return the joke.
Because banter is a social game, there are unwritten survival rules. If you want to participate, you must follow these rules. Rule number 1, test the waters.
Test the waters. That means you do not walk up to a new colleague on their first day and make a sarcastic joke about their jacket.
No, definitely not.
You start with small talk. You make a light joke about the terrible weather and see if they smile and joke back. You test their energy to see if they are a playful person.
Rule number 2 is crucial. Do not cross the line. Banter must remain light and superficial. You can tease someone about spilling your tea or wearing a silly hat.
But you must never tease someone about their deep personal insecurities, their family, or their core values. The intent is to show affection, never to cause actual pain.
Rule number 3, be thick-skinned.
Having thick skin means you are emotionally resilient. You do not get offended by small things. If a friend makes a joke about you dropping your pen in a meeting, you have to be able to laugh at yourself. Taking yourself too seriously ruins the game of banter.
The absolute safest way to start practicing banter is to use it on yourself first. This is called self-deprecation.
Self-deprecation is a great tool.
Before you tease anyone else, make a joke about your own mistake. If you mispronounce a word, laugh and make a sarcastic comment about your own brain needing more coffee.
When you show people that you are thick-skinned enough to laugh at yourself, it makes them feel safe. It invites them to connect with you.
However, sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes someone hits the tennis ball too hard and the joke actually hurts your feelings.
It happens. And it is vital to know how to protect yourself politely. You do not need to get angry, but you do need to set a boundary.
You can stop the game of banter calmly and clearly. You just need a gentle phrase to signal that the teasing is no longer fun.
Let's practice a phrase you can use to set a boundary. It tells the other person to step back without starting a fight. I want you to use a calm, firm tone of voice. Repeat after me. I think you've gone a bit too far.
Let's practice that one more time. Keep your voice steady and confident. Repeat after me, I think you've gone a bit too far.
That is exactly how you handle it. It immediately communicates that the line was crossed, and a respectful native speaker will apologize and change the subject.
When we look at all these elements together, the trick mirror of sarcasm, the lazy logic of negative phrases, the playful tennis game of banter, we see a bigger picture.
Mastering the English language is not a math problem. It is not just about memorizing grammar rules and dictionary definitions. It is about understanding human behavior.
Language is wonderfully messy because human beings are messy. We use positive words to hide our frustration. We use confusing commands to show our empathy. And we throw playful insults at the people we care about the most.
Once you understand the emotional mechanics behind the words, the language transforms from a confusing test into a colorful, beautiful way to connect with people.
It stops being a secret game, and you finally have the rules to play along.
I want to leave you with a provocative thought to mull over as you go about your week. The next time you are talking to a native English speaker and they give you a massive, bright compliment, take a moment to pause.
Look at their facial expression. Listen to the pitch of their voice.
Ask yourself, are they truly being nice, or did you just miss a sarcastic joke? Could understanding this hidden layer of language be the ultimate secret to finally feeling like a true local?
That is a brilliant question to keep in mind. Pay attention to the melody of the conversations around you this week.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We love breaking down these everyday mysteries, and we hope this deep dive makes you feel much more confident in your daily conversations.
Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share the Real English podcast with any friends or colleagues who are also learning English.
And if you want to review today's lesson, I uploaded a free PDF summary in the description and in the comments. Feel free to download it and study at your own pace.